I'd been a poet and a fiction writer my entire life, and when I came to Greenwood, I had written one play before I came to Greenwood for a class. It was not something that I took all that seriously, but I was in shows here pretty early on, and I was standing in the wings during a production of A Few Good Men, and I had been thinking about the short story that I had intended to write, and it had never quite happened. I had never been able to get traction on this story, and it suddenly occurred to me as I was looking out onto the stage from the wings, this story was not a story, it was a play.
I mean, every day I get to wake up and I get to play dress up. I get to create magical fairylands or someone else's backyard. I get to kill people on stage and they get to walk away from it. I get to stage murders. I get to create zombies. Okay, I'm not so stuck on death right now, I promise. But I mean, I get to affect the way that people look at the world, not just on stage, but the world around them. You know, it's how people see a production is how we as artists communicate to the audience.
Well, I think it happens to be something you just feel like you are blessed in. You know, we all have blessings, we all have strengths, and theater happens to be one of mine, and I have a natural inclination to want to create things and nurture things, though some students may disagree with that second part. But I also have I'm drawn to solving problems creatively. I enjoy that.
As a writer, for me, the thing that distinguishes the theater from all other forms is audience reaction. But when you put a play on the stage, the audience is going to react naturally because they're in an audience. They have the freedom to be an individual in the crowd. If you're laughing, there are probably other people laughing. If you're crying, there are probably other people crying. And so you don't feel obligated to give anybody a particular response in any way, shape, or form. And so it's the purest reaction you will ever get to your work. And for me, that was huge. The first time I heard an audience respond to my work, I don't even know how to put that in words.
Being a part of the design tech side allows me to help aid in that visual recreation. Theater isn't just words, it's also about the spectacle of it all the way back to Aristotle and poetics, getting a little academic on you here. But Aristotle and poetics talked about the need for spectacle to create a good production because it adds another level and a layer to a show that words alone can't. It communicates to us on a completely different level.
You have to find your passion. You have to find the thing that makes you get up every day and pursue. Otherwise, it's a dull gray life. And I was fortunate enough to make that realization early on in life. And you know, it always sounds so cliche when people say, "Oh, I got into theater in high school," you know. Well, I did, but it wasn't in the same fashion other students may have gone into it. I went into it very reluctantly. It wasn't something I was necessarily going to do. It was just a happen chance, tried out for a play, got the part, you know, and then at that point in my life, I was a very rebellious teenager. Put them in that kind of situation, and they're creative, and they get feedback, you know, positive, negative, but somebody cares about them, like a director, for example, sees their potential worth through the way they express themselves, which is what most teenagers like to do, is express themselves and have somebody notice them, can really set someone on a good path. And so I was comfortable there, and it was just one of those things that just led, you know, into itself, and decided to pursue it as a degree. It wasn't anything I grew up saying that's what I want to be. It just had a good experience with it, and then just kept pursuing opportunities as they came along, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you're sitting here at Lander 20-something years later teaching what you have always loved to do. So that's a good thing.